Welcome to Graya Overload. I'm Anthony, and AMD released the new Ryzen CPUs with Vega graphics. With AMD releasing the Ryzen 3 2200G and the Ryzen 5 2400G, I'm really excited about these processors and the prospect that hopefully I'll be able to upgrade my media center system with one of these later this year. It's not high on the priority list, but I hopefully will get to it this year. But the Ryzen 3 2200G is a 4-core 4-thread with a 3.5 gigahertz base and a 3.7 gigahertz max boost with 8 graphics compute units. So finally we get the combination of the Ryzen processors with the Vega graphics all in one chip, and I'm very glad that AMD has came out with this, especially at a great price point at $99. Then you also have the Ryzen 5 2400G, which is a 3.9 gigahertz max boost on there, and then you have a 3.6 gigahertz base clock on 4 cores and 8 threads with 11 graphics compute units for $169. So a great price overall. One reason why I actually really like these processors is that it's the new 2000 series, and I think the important thing about it all is that it's still the same socket. AM4 is going to be here to 2020, and that's what AMD keeps on saying each time, and that's a very welcome compared to what Intel has done over the last couple of years. And that's one reason why I'm looking at it in my media center, so if I do want to upgrade, I don't have to be buying new motherboards and stuff every year. So, but the Ryzen also they also improved AMD also improved that AMD Sense MI technology in over the 1000 series processors, and this is like multi-core algorithms to allow higher frequencies in gaming and real world applications. They did silicon improvements for cache and memory latencies. They allowed little process technologies to allow lower power at higher frequencies, and they're also introducing a new 400 series motherboard this year. So one really nice thing, like I said, is the same socket, but if you do want to go out and get a new motherboard, you're going to have that updated chipset as well, but you don't have to, which is the great thing about it. And so AMD went through and they kind of showed like the quad core performance overall. Now the Ryzen 2000G processors, and based upon this, they're comparing it to basically last year's the 1000 series processors. Now they don't have the graphics side to them at all, but you can kind of see here from this between the 2200G and the 1200, and then the 2400G and the 1400, a little bit of difference here, as you know, in each series or each difference between the 14 and the 2400G and the 12 and 2200G, you see an improvement each time, and that's a good sign overall that AMD has done some refinements here this year, and I'm pleased with it. And Zen is turning to be, this is going to the second year, and you can see that AMD is continuing to refine it here for this year. It's going to be interesting going forward to see what those desktop processors, this is strictly CPU ones coming out later this year on the 12 nanometer process, to see how these improvements roll into that as well. But I'm going to go into some gaming here, and the Ryzen 3 2200G, as you see here, compared to the i3 8100, does pretty well on its own, especially holding its own. And you can see that they have a lot of games here all over with, and the performance overall is quite well compared to the 8100. Now you're using your low settings, but it's also a $100 processor that you can game on and not have to be excruciating in pain while doing it. So I like that a lot that they've done there. And then the Ryzen, and let's move over to the Ryzen 5, because I find this one a little bit more interesting on the gaming side. And the 2400G, you start to be able to do full 1080p gaming on it, and it's quite respectable overall in the frame rates. And you adjust some settings here and there, and all of a sudden yeah, it boosts up a little bit, and you're probably getting close to that range that you want to be in as well. Above 30 most of the time, probably into that 40, 50, 60 range as well. So I think that these are pretty respectable gaming scores overall, especially for a fully integrated chip on one die where you don't have to buy a graphics card right now, which is really hard to do. So then when you go through, and let's say that you bought the 2400G and now you want to upgrade to a better graphics card, and that's something you can do as well, and you will see a boost for it as well. And they showed the 1080 on here, so NVIDIA card, and comparison wise, you're getting a huge jumps in frames per second going to that 1080, as you assume you would if you go to that bigger chip, right? Or better graphics card, I should say, if it ever comes in stock again. So I'm hoping they do. But what's really kind of cool about this too is that you get the unlocked CPU, it's an unlocked GPU, and you get unlocked DRAM. So the higher you clock your DRAM, the better performance you'll get as well, because there's no RAM on these chips either. So you see here, you can get, depending upon what your RAM can overclock to, you can get some big performance jump just in RAM alone. That's something to look at too. If you got a good cooling solution as well, you can do a little bit better overclocking. And so these are all things that you can do and you can look at here with the new AMD processors that are out. I think that these are kind of a nice sweet spot for AMD. They got the great graphics power, and they also have a competitive CPU side of things as well. You know, that Intel still is king on overall, just strictly single threading and stuff like that. But you're starting to close the gaps here a lot, and it's very competitive. Plus, you get the whole graphics side of things that is way better than the Intel side of things, right? You as you saw with the Ryzen 2400G compared to the i5-8400, there wasn't much comparison there. So one other thing, though, that I am looking at as well is that these things are actually in stock. Well, I guess Newegg sold out of them today, but they just tweeted it out. But they will be more in stock here, and so they have the ability to keep these more in stock, right? And if you're looking for a gaming PC right now and want to hold off on that graphics card, here's the opportunity to do it. And you can buy one of these, play some games, and once the graphics cards come back down in price, or come at least back down to earth at least a little bit, you'll be able to buy that graphics card. And so that's one interesting aspect to it as well. That's one thing that I'm looking at for anybody that wants that, gaming side of things, but they also want to spend the money on the graphics graphics cards right now. And then the other side of things is that a lot of people come to me, but they don't want to spend that extra money with graphics cards. So I like to build computers for people that ask for it. And not right now I have something that I can suggest to them as well that has a little bit more power behind it, especially going into the future as more and more stuff becomes more graphical. People want to play this, games here and there. They have the better ability to as well. So this is one thing. This is one processor now I'll even look more into to provide solutions for other people as well. So thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to stop by Graya Overload. Let me know if you have any questions or any thoughts on these Ryzen processors as well. And hopefully I will get one later this year to replace my media center and do a review on it. But until then, and until next time, thank you for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching Graya Overload. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe